so much has happened. So many new places have been discovered within me that I've been able to tap into and really create a new foundation with. So a lot in fear and judgment, and I had this one experience where I was listening to a friend's video, and I was just, everything was clicking in a different way. I should say I was re-listening to a friend's video, and everything was clicking in a different way. And I had so much joy in my heart from that I wanted to call that person, and I wanted to tell them how amazing they were. And then I stopped and I said to myself, when was the last time you ever said to yourself that you were amazing? Like, and really felt it and were in the vibe of that. And I heard within myself that voice that says, but I'm not perfect. I can't be amazing. I'm not perfect. And I heard that voice, and I was able to coach from my awareness part of myself, the unaware part of myself, through that experience. And that was, it opened up so many doorways for me after that of truth and awareness. But what came from that experience was that I know that we are creating our reality from a state of emotion. And this emotion is attached directly to our ego. And that is not a bad thing. It is a good thing. It's a language you don't yet understand, or maybe you do. Forgive me for assuming, but I didn't understand that language. So I always ran from that language. I always judged that language. I always, my ego would talk, and it would point to my pain, and I would just skip right over it. But that day in the car, I didn't. And I have this thing where my friends say I've left them, which means that if they're having a hard time, I will look and tell them all the amazing things I see about themselves. So that day I did that for myself, and I welcomed myself into the doorway of amazingness, which I had never been able to enter because I didn't feel worthy. And I got to learn that this illusion we create inside of ourselves through a truth that is collectively driven and personally driven through experiences and through bloodlines, family bloodlines and things like that, is being shown to us, but we don't want to see it. I didn't want to see it because, for whatever reason, it was very scary to me. So this time, and since I'm not running from that reflection, I'm not running from that language of my ego. I'm embracing it. I'm bringing with it all my tools and all my gifts, so we together can find new ways we would like to feel and think about ourselves and the world in which we are co-creating. So I welcome myself into the room that day, knowing this, and I'll share it with you in hopes that it will lend to you your knowing self. I said, if I am creating a non-perfect thought about myself, then I will never ever feel perfect when I look outside myself into the secondary part, not my primary, into the secondary part that I judge myself up against, because I'm creating that visual from my primary. So really, that doesn't stack up, right? Because your primary has to change for your secondary to join in collectively. And because I pep talk myself into knowing that truth beyond how I dealt with it in the past. I got to go in that door. That's pretty much it on that story, except that I never have asked to celebrate my small wins, but the smallness of me has never been celebrated. It's always been pressed down and made smaller. So what better day and what better way, pardon me, to create celebration for that reason alone. And that celebration was, felt great. It felt really good to have that celebration around that part of myself. Since that time, so much of my language within myself has shown me where to look. And so I'm going to share that with all of you. And the language may look different. You know, we may want to say positive, and our ego may want to say, I have fears. But there's a way to come together. Second experience I had was that I cannot recall who the video was, so I do apologize for that. But they had stated that El Morya, Elmoiya, is an ascended master whose purpose is to help assist people with their I am presence. And I called in El Morya, and I asked for that opportunity for my I am presence to come through. And wouldn't you know, it happened. And that it was my essence showing up for me, which created a deeper understanding of how multidimensional we really are, and that we're all fractals of the totality of ourselves. And I was shown that my ego has always been separated from my totality, feeling unloved, not worthy, and that it's a fraction of me, but it will not be left behind. All parts of me, all parts of consciousness has sent down the best part, my heart, to retrieve my ego and bring it back into love, so we, with our free will, can choose to integrate back into the wholeness of the great love of all. I believe I'm not alone in this. I believe that if you are watching this, you too are reflecting that journey. And what a beautiful journey it is. So, my current state of practice, being, and development with my ego is to learn my ego's language. Pep talk and bring forth love to that ego, which I like to think of as my little girl, and show her it's safe to love, show her it's safe to be everything, and remind her that the reason why she has not been experiencing that is because of our beliefs. So we are learning and growing together, and developing a really safe and beautiful relationship and we're letting in the divine assistance that is available to each and every one of you. And it feels really good. And I'm now beginning to look at things in this reality system differently. And I'll give you an example. I have a vision board I created back in 2016. I pulled that out, and ironically, it's all the things that I feel in my heart and I see and know to be here now. And I'm using that as a bounce off point to ask my ego what part of this doesn't reflect how you want to feel or experience it, and really stopping and listening to the answer, so we can align all parts up to this new awareness and this new truth. We've also chosen to pick a word. Now that we know that we are an abundant amount of manifestation and energy, we chose a word. I chose a word that I could use throughout my whole part of my life, through love, through divine purpose, through my bank account, through every part of my existence. A word that, ironically, a friend of mine was talking, we were talking about this together. We were bouncing this awareness off of one another. And they said a word. And I really like that word. I was like, I like that word because there's no part of my ego or my brain or my emotional state that feels it means something negative. So I thought that's a great word to place my energy into, to watch it multiply. And then when I pulled out my vision board, sure enough, right on my vision board was that word. It was really cool. I was like, wow, revelation. So many things have begun to change in my life through this relationship with my little girl. So many wonderful things have transpired almost by magic. Am I all the way through? Absolutely not. We're doing this together, so that would mean that you're all the way through. Are you all the way through? Let me know. But we are aligning with our I Am presence, knowing that we are fully supported by our greatest self and the divine light of heaven and all these beautiful masters out there that understand this walk and are assisting every step of the way. And to them I say thank you. To my beautiful little girl ego, I say thank you. You are loved beyond anything you could possibly imagine. But you are beginning to know that through the reflections that are transpiring through your willingness to let go of fear and let go of old beliefs and old truths. And it's creating for us all a reflective understanding that not only within ourselves and how we are experiencing life, but it's expanding out into the world in which we live and how we are participating in that collective thinking. And that's pretty powerful. So until our next time, let's say goodbye, but not forever, just for the moment. Feel free to leave your beautiful comments down below. I love hearing how we're reflecting one another. It's a joy. It's a delight. Thank you so much. Oh,